Hello everyone. So welcome to episode 37, I believe, of Teh Tarik with Walid. And today we will have a new entry or a new entrant to the political scene in Singapore. Her name is Jess Chua, and she is the head of the youth wing of the Progress Singapore Party. And we will be discussing all PSP related stuff. And feel free to type in your questions. And no, we will not be discussing Will Smith and Chris Rock. I would love to, but that's beyond the scope of today's discussion. Okay, so uh, feel free to type your questions in, and we'll take as many as possible, as always. Hello, hi Jess.
Hello, Walid.
Hi, you can hear
Hi.
me well?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me well?
Okay, nice. Yes, nice to meet you uh,
Thanks for having me on your
online,
show.
virtually. No. It's the pleasure is mine. So maybe you wanna tell us a little bit more about yourself first, Jess?
Well, I heard your introduction. Yes, I'm the head of the youth wing of the Progress Singapore Party, and I joined the party in 2019 and have been active since, even doing a G. So before this, before I joined the PSP, I was not in any political party, and I also wasn't so politically aware. So I was quite an ordinary Singaporean, just doing my life, living my life, and enjoying my life. Yes.
So now you're not enjoying anymore.
Now I'm enjoying, but not just focusing on myself, doing a little bit more for the country, for the people, and then being out there. Yeah, I was not
Right.
so in the public sphere.
Right. And I I always say this, but it's worth repeating because I think I genuinely believe I have a lot of respect for people who put themselves out there, like in political positions. So from the PAP and from the opposition, and especially for the opposition because there's more scrutiny, right? But also
Yeah,
from the PAP because it's not easy to do this. It's something I could never do. So a lot of respect for people like you.
yeah,
So
indeed. After I joined, I also have a lot of respect for people who do this. In fact, even from the PAP, I was like, wow, okay. It's not
yeah,
so
it's
easy,
not
right?
easy. Yeah, it's not easy. And I think one of the myths is, I mean, a lot of people have a lot of criticisms about the PAP, right? And I think one of the things that you cannot criticize them for is they don't work hard. Like because I really think a lot of, I mean, every PAP MP works hard, and I think most opposite, not all opposition candidates, some opposition candidates, right? Like the one contesting in my GRC, I did never saw them through
I will not ask
until
which
today.
GRC you are from, okay?
I can tell you,
I
I'm
don't
from
want to know.
Tampines.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
but it's not PSP, don't worry. Yeah,
No.
so
Yeah.
yeah.
That's
So a
like,
lot of respect for people who put themselves out there. Yeah, so I wanted to ask you, Jess, why? So you already talked about that, as in now you are doing something, it's sort of a higher calling, right? So why politics? I mean, I'm sure you can serve the country in other ways, right? So two questions here. So first is why politics and why the PSP of all parties?
yeah, why politics? Well, I think my political awakening started in 2011. And that was the first time that I really had to inform myself so that I can vote. And that was the presidential election. Because I am from the GRC where, well, ever since I was of the voting age, that didn't really require me to vote. Wow, it was
Tanjung
not a
Pagar
walkover.
or
No,
what? Oh,
another
no.
one.
Okay.
It's like I only answer you one last chance. Yeah,
Okay,
well,
let me
and
think first. Yeah, okay.
you think you can,
Okay.
yeah, anytime. And so I didn't really have to be so aware of what's going on, I thought, right? So 2011 was the presidential election, and then I had to make a choice. So I read up on the candidates, and then I realized, oh, there are a lot of people running for the presidential election, right? I was like, okay, there's this guy and this guy, well, no surprise, you might make a informed guess who he was that I supported. And indeed, well, his surname was Dan. Okay, he's still Dan.
Wow, that narrows it down.
25% of getting it
Yeah.
right, right?
Yeah.
Well, I give you another guess. He didn't win. Okay, but he
Yeah, I mean
lost by a very slight margin.
he's a
And
doctor, right? Yeah.
yeah, indeed. And then I think that was it when I realized that that's actually quite a good strategy to divide the votes. And that was then I realized, oh, there is really some politics and strategy going on. Then I thought, never mind. Okay, so he didn't win. I said, well, next time we can vote again in 6 years' time. So 2017 happened, and you also pretty much, oh yeah, you must know what happened. And I also didn't get to vote. So I think that was then that, I mean, that was the straw that broke the camel's back. And I thought, wow, this is not happening in a democratic society. I knew we were not that democratic, all right? But there was only, I mean, up to a point, I thought it got kind of ridiculous. Then I thought it was quite a slap in our faces. And I thought, well, it's time to get involved. And in fact, what was quite funny was that I Googled up how to set up your own political party.
Oh, you did? Wow.
I Googled, right? I mean,
Wow.
a very conscientious Googler. And then it turned out to be very difficult. And I was just, you know what, let's just pray that somebody who's of the right caliber and experience come along and form a political party so that I can join that. And then the next year, the year after next, I think 2 years after that, then it happened. I said, oh, my prayer worked.
Right.
They say don't
So,
mix faith and religion, right? But it worked.
yes. Okay. So evidently God heard you, right? But why
I'm sure I was not the only one praying.
Yeah. So why do you think that a new party was needed amongst the existing opposition parties? You don't think you didn't think the WP or the SDP was credible enough?
I don't think it was that. I think a lot of us benefited from the existing system, right? And we kind of all saw the good points of PAP and kind of think that that worked. So I think Dr. Tan's entry really changed, and we realized like, okay, he also came from the system, and obviously for him at his age to make that the step out, it says a lot, and that kind of resonated with what we also thought was happening, and why we also felt that, oh, I think I need to make a change as well. I need to do something.
Right.
And I think that was really it. And of course, with Dr. Tan, he's not just somebody who was from the incumbent, but also somebody who is very compassionate. And the message about progressing with compassion resonated with us, because it was getting to the point. I think it was so much about earning more money. It was about
Right.
Your status. It's about getting upgrades. It was about
Right.
getting a house. Upgrade from a HDB to a condo to a house, and we start to find ourselves being like digits. So I think
Right.
the message of compassion resonated, and that's why a lot of us came out. And also, since I joined the party, I met a lot of people of the like-minded people who also were not involved in politics. Were really just minding their own businesses,
Right.
and it came out because of this same reason. And that kind of showed me that I was on the right track and I wasn't alone.
Right. So Jess and I are roughly of the same age. I think only 1 or 2 years difference probably. And yeah, so
I think you're younger,
2011.
right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
look younger.
I think. Thank you. Yeah, but you already knew that, right? There's no way I look younger. So, yeah. So I think I'm a year younger than you probably. Yeah. But in any case, so uh, 2011 was an important year for us, right? So 2011, I mean, and I really feel for the younger ones who voted for the first time in this election because they didn't get the full experience of an election. And 2011, if you remember the GE, I mean the rallies and just the atmosphere, it was wild, right? I mean, wild by Singapore standards, of course,
Yeah.
right?
I
And then,
remember sitting in
yeah,
front of my TV really touched, even though I did not vote in that constituency that they
right,
won. But
yeah,
I think I was really emotional about it. Like, wow, thank goodness for the people in Arjunit.
yeah, yeah,
They,
yeah,
they
yeah.
they were brave.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, but you are braver for putting yourself out there. So you already answered why why politics and why PSP, right? So how has the PSP done so far? So Z has a question which is a bit similar to my question that I want to ask later as well. But the second one, how has the PAP done so far, you think? So as an organization, but also in parliament.
Yeah. As a 3-year-old organization, and we just passed the mark of 3-year-old like a couple of days ago, I think we've done very well. I would compare it to being a startup, right? The initial part was always people are excited about that, and then we needed to get resources. We welcome everyone, and we had to make an impact because we didn't know when the election was going to take place. So, and we thought, okay, maybe a snap election will happen. So we need people on the ground. We need people to be the EAs. We need people to be knocking on the door. We need people to do the communication, social media. And then came COVID. So that really threw things off. So I think we have done well in the parliament as well. Yeah, I admire Hazel and Manwai being there in a rather unfortunate and unfortunately hostile environment. Really, they show grit, perseverance, and resilience, which I think is what a lot of Singaporeans can aspire to have, because life in general may be quite comfortable in a first world country like ours, but when you are put out there in adversity, that's when it shows your colors, and composure. Yeah, I know you need to be composed, but it's not always easy. And do not forget, it's the only since like 2 years ago, since the last GE, that we had a live parliamentary session, right? And so it's quite easy for us in hindsight to be viewing from our screens, behind the screens, and say that, oh yeah, the person, she has spoken this way, not eloquent enough, she has said that, we talk like this. Yeah, that's easy if you are the one, if you are behind the screen. But if you're out there faced with quite 90% of the other side, I think I really admire. I admire that courage, that grit.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I think Manwai has become sort of an easy target, right? It's an easy target amongst many segments of the populace. And I think, I mean, Manwai was one of the first people who came on this show. And I met him. I like him. I think he's very unassuming. He's very humble. And I do think part of the criticisms towards Manwai does come from a very elitist place, right? So, he's not as eloquent as the other ministers, his accent is too Singapore, whatever it is. So I think it's a bit unfair. So that strand of criticisms, I think, is a bit unfair. Now, having said that, then moving on to perhaps more contentious issues, right? I think Arvin also asked, right? So the PSP has been charged, and especially Manwai. Manwai sort of personifies this, where PSP is seen as a populist and an anti-immigration, anti-immigrant, even xenophobic party, right? So I do not think that Manwai is a racist or xenophobe. I do not think that. Some people have charged that, but I personally do not think that. But I do sometimes feel uncomfortable as well, at some of the rhetoric that he is, and is a PSP, right? So it's a PSP that is putting this up through him, of course. So how would you respond to that, like the charge that PSP is anti-immigrant or anti-immigration?
Yep. So first, I would say very, without any doubt, that we are pro-Singapore and we are pro-Singaporeans. So what we do, we are very active on the ground, and then we listen to people, and then the ground sentiments, we picked it up, and we raise some questions, some very inconvenient questions, some questions that maybe the ruling party does not want to answer because the issues and topics might have been their own doing because of policies put in place decades ago. Policies that might at that time, like 50 years ago during nation building, might have helped us move forward, progress really quickly, get to where we were and where we are, but might no longer be relevant in today's context. I think politics is about people, and people have evolved. So the politics, the policies have to evolve as well. So when we pick up the sentiments and raise the issues in the parliament, I think some of the accusations I don't think you can deny that some of them are politically driven. And that we, even though our intention was right, but how it got put out in the newspapers and how the words turned around against us was something quite beyond our control. Maybe we could have been savvier. I think more seasoned politicians maybe could have avoided some of these traps. But I would say without a single doubt that we are definitely not xenophobic. And to think about it, we are a land of immigrants. Our forefathers and some of our parents, grandparents, they are from other countries, right? They're not originally Singaporean. So it's kind of shooting ourselves in the foot if we were to be anti-immigrant. But what we want to then is what's good for Singapore at this point of our development. And that's always at the heart of our policies and the messages we put out is Singaporeans first. It could be different at a different point. How we execute it, the policy will have changed. I think a policy that is valid today might not be as valid in 10 years' time. And I don't think any responsible party should be adamant that we will not change that stance. Right? So, yeah.
Yeah. So I agree with much of what you said, right? So definitely some of the criticisms that come from whether it's a PAP or other parties, I mean, it's politically driven. Of course it is, because it's a political issue, right? So every criticism or every praise is political, right? And of course the media will always play things up in a particular way, right? So I think that much is established, and you are preaching to the choir, right? But even as someone who has a healthy skepticism of the mainstream media like myself, right? When I look at the PS, so no, you are right. You are right that what you are saying is probably what a lot of people, even in my own family, I understand I'm an outlier, that a lot of people actually do agree with the PSP stance, right? But don't you think that parties also have, it's not just about reflecting ground sentiments, there's also a moral responsibility, right, to lead. And I agree also with what Manwai said, like criticisms of Sika it should be fair game. It should not be seen as, the counter cannot be, it's racism, it's racist to criticize Sika, because Sika is a policy. It's xenophobic to criticize Sika. But at the same time, don't you think that criticisms of Sika, and sometimes the line is not that clear between the policy and the racism, and then Manwai may not mean it and PSP may not mean it, but then it becomes fodder for xenophobes and for racists to use against people who look like me, basically, right? It's against the Indian looking people, right? So whether it's Singaporeans or new Singaporeans or even just PRs or just Indians working here, right? So don't you think there is something there?
Yeah. I would say the jobs debate or the call, we were really going for protect jobs for Singaporeans, especially the PMET. As for the area, the part where it became like the xenophobia, I think this is where education and conversations, really candid conversations, need to take place, because you cannot kick the can down the road forever. The population needs to be educated, but if you keep avoiding this topic, very sensitive, no doubt, and I think different generations deal with it quite differently and have different appetite for how open you can be on this topic. But it is a topic that is due, and I do feel that it has always been too sensitive. Don't talk about it, and that's how people end up being xenophobic. being racist. So it is something that the youth wing actually focused on, even though I did not name it during when I took over, because also I was still very sensitive, right? But racism, this needs education. This needs open conversation, candid. And if not, whenever you have another topic, it can always be spun into some racist topic
Right.
when it actually was about job. It was about
Right,
jobs
right.
for Singaporeans.
Right. I
So
understand.
I find that
Yeah.
yes, maybe unfortunately, the xenophobes maybe took opportunity to express their xenophobia. But would I say that we were wrong to address the jobs debate? I don't think so. I think it was at the heart, it was for Singaporeans, regardless of race, language, or religion. Singaporeans. It was not about I want to protect the jobs of Chinese Singaporeans, Malay Singaporeans, right? It was about Singaporeans, but it got spun, right?
Right.
And the solution is not to stop talking about this. The solution is to actually shed light on this, right? Chase the darkness away. We need to talk about racism. It is real.
Right. Oh, so thank you. Thank you for. I thought that was an honest answer, and I think you didn't shy away from your party's position, right? And I appreciated that. I appreciated the fact that you also acknowledged that this can be taken advantage of by the xenophobes. But I also agree that, as you said, that shouldn't stop us from debating issues, right? I think any policy is fair game, right? But so I do agree with you. I think it's fair to counter that. But then, since you realize that this can also be fodder for the xenophobes and racists, then what is PSP's responsibility in countering that? So I think PSP has a right and responsibility to raise objections to SICA and so on. But then, how do you also, other than the policy part, the social aspect, how do you, what do you do to play a part in countering xenophobia and racism?
The youth thing will play a crucial role in this, because I think we could agree that the youth has a greater appetite to discuss this, and maybe because we are not burdened with the riots from the 1960s, even though we acknowledge that happened, and that's valid concern really. But we a lot of us grew up in a very diverse neighborhood. Now we have friends of different ethnicity, right? Of different people who joined, who were not Singaporeans in Singapore, but they became Singaporeans, so the new citizens who are by now no longer that new, right? So we are a diverse bunch of people. And this is where I think the young Singaporeans can play a major role in that. Because then you can talk about it. You have grown up with these people, and then it's a safe environment because there's trust. And I think that's really the
Is
most
the older
fundamental.
generation beyond hope, or why do you say only the
Well, I don't want to say anything about that. I don't want to judge them. All right.
Yeah, so I don't think they're beyond hope also, right? I think they should partake in this conversation as well, right?
But I
Yeah.
do think that maybe a lot of
We are
things they are
best positioned to,
subconscious.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
they
Okay, fair enough.
you know,
Yeah.
and instead of like forcing them to really confront this truth, like telling that you are being racist in this remark.
Yeah.
The casual racism, the
Right.
unintentional racism. In fact, I don't think we need to push too hard because it gets really uncomfortable, and
Yeah.
you're not going to get a consensus. And maybe sometimes it's not necessary to always be right, all right? But we need to talk about it.
Right.
And that's where the youth can take charge. We can change this together. We need to stay united as a people, right? We are Singaporeans. We're not Chinese Singaporeans, Malay Singaporeans. What is this? We're Singaporeans first.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. So I really look forward to the youth wing doing this as well. I mean, adopting this as one of the causes, because I do agree with you. Oh, by the way, also youth is also quite relative, right? Because Compared to
Yeah,
Dr.
look at me.
Tan, yeah,
Look
we
at
are
me, I'm
very
still in
young,
the
right?
youth
Yeah,
wing.
so but a lot of people will call us boomers, right? Yeah,
No,
younger
I'm
folks,
not a
yes,
boomer.
they do.
I'm
They
technically still a
do.
millennial.
Like, yeah, yeah, I am as well. Yeah, but it's just that for them,
Uh,
anybody older is boomer. Yeah. But anyway, so,
what kind of people have you been
also,
hanging out with?
some of them are here in the comments, my students.
Oh,
But anyway, I just wanted to leave it at that. I think that was a good discussion. But just one addendum, perhaps. So yes, we are a land of immigrants, but the Malays are indigenous, right? So my ancestors are immigrants as well, but the Malays are indigenous and they are constitutionally recognized as indigenous as well. So let's move on to your pet causes that you have talked about, and you talked about the moment you assumed the leadership position, right? Which are mental health and environment, right? And what is it that the PAP is not doing or Singapore is not doing now that you propose we do with regard to mental health and environment?
yeah. So the youth wings and the youth in the party we have organized a few seminars and webinars and conversations around the topic of mental health. And of course, we also have Dr. An Yong Guan, who's a psychiatrist, and that really helped. So we are very much into engaging youth on this because, well, I will admit I don't have any expertise in this, but I have the interest and to make this better for Singaporeans. So through these conversations, and I'm still learning as time goes by, that one of the things that struck me the most was that financial, like the financial cost of getting treatment and seeing a psychiatrist is very high.
Very high.
So if you are not you're not pretty well to do, paying over $100 for each treatment or each time you visit a psychiatrist is unsustainable, right? And so most people, when that happens, they avoid seeking treatment because it is too costly. And of course, without treatment, without early intervention, it has a likelihood to get worse. So what I would propose is that mental health care be part of the general care. So whatever it should be regarded as something like if I can see a doctor and get a subsidy for I don't know, whether you get a day surgery or chronic illness, then mental health should be part of it too.
Mm.
Then or whatever you can use your CPF
Right, right.
like
Yeah,
at
yeah,
least
yeah,
few
yeah.
it
Yeah,
should be
yeah,
part
yeah,
of it.
yeah.
And insurance as well. I know
Yeah.
I think since this pandemic I've seen some insurance policies that actually covers mental health.
Yeah.
But I think this should be then the standard instead of an
Right.
exception.
Right,
So
right,
this is
right.
one part I feel that it can be improved on. So
Okay.
obviously the social stigma is another thing that prevents people from coming forward to seek treatment. And this is something that conversations, education, awareness can help. And I've seen also, especially since COVID, that more has been done and there are more conversations. I see webinars, I see TikTok videos we also have done. In
Yeah, so
fact,
there's a question here. Do you think the PSP is being too casual in their approach to engage the youth, i.e. doing TikTok trends? So this is by Enchi and then
are we too casual? Well, I think it depends on the people the target audience. I don't know if this question came from a youth or
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's a very young person, yeah.
okay,
21-ish, yeah.
yeah, not so casual maybe. Maybe she doesn't like casual stuff, but not every youth like things casual, right? Some youth can be very serious too, and
Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
some seniors can be quite casual too. So it depends on the individual, I think, and the fact that we have gotten quite positive feedback and views, and some of our TikTok videos have also gone viral. I think that's in itself it says something. So it really depends on the target audience. Of course, I don't think we can please everybody, and that's
Yeah, yeah.
also not something that we aspire to do. But we try. The thing is, we try to reach out to the people, right? And we
Right.
try different means. I mean, I think for one thing, if you fought PSP for everything being too casual, being I
Yeah,
think you
yeah,
can
yeah.
afford us for our effort. And
Right.
this you cannot afford the PSP. And really, the people behind these videos, behind this social media outreach, they're young people and people who are not political gurus or in politics for a long time. They are just people who are just trying to do something for the country, do it through PSP, and we all volunteers. So and that I got to give to them. I really appreciate them for that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the one thing is that, our mental health TikTok videos, the one that from Dr. An Yong Guan, has gotten millions of views
Oh,
during
wow.
COVID. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Go check it out.
That's
Go
impressive.
check it out.
Oh,
Yeah. So I think that says something, and I believe that it benefited some people. In fact, I mean, we also got from, yeah, they
oh,
they were asking questions, and they were also thanking them for these videos. You don't know, but maybe some of these videos may come across as too casual or silly to some, might have helped that one person at the moment of time, and that's good enough for us.
right, right. So I get that, and I think as a political party, I definitely understand that there's no way you can run away from TikTok and do all these videos. But just personally, as someone of the same age as myself, right? Personally, how do you feel about TikTok videos?
How do I feel about it? Well, I think it's fun. I am
Oh,
not. I
really?
mean,
You think so? Okay.
I think
Yeah.
fun. I mean, I make a couple of videos, and I'm not a natural in it. I have so many party members who are so much more natural in it, and I'm just not one of them. But they coach me, and I'm learning. So,
Okay.
so I think that's fun. I mean,
Okay.
the end results are quite, quite funny, at least.
Okay. Okay. I'll check out
And
your
yeah,
take. Yeah.
I think it's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Right. Right.
Yeah, but
So
really,
so
it's not about having fun. We did it because we want to reach out to the people.
right. 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 Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. So having fun is a bonus, right? So what else is so this is by Z. What else is PSP Youth Wing doing for mental health other than webinars and TikTok? I can see where that casual comment come from. And what will the youth wing be doing in the
So
next year now that COVID restrictions have been eased?
yeah, so we're definitely going to do a lot more face-to-face meetup. This is something that we believe in via. And okay, webinars can only do so much,
Yeah.
and so we believe in like the face-to-face interaction. So we will be organizing some cleanups so that this whole beach cleanup or cleaning of parks. It's not so much that we want to clean the parks, yeah, or pick up rubbish. It's really about creating awareness again, just like a TikTok videos. And then we want people to be aware because we want to reach out to the young people because I think political education is very important and it is somewhat lacking. And it's very important, yet such a vital education is missing in our formal education. So we have to reach out to them in a different way. And and one of the ways is to engage them in activities that they're passionate about. And one of them is obviously sustainability, environmental protection. Yeah, so we'll be doing a lot more of that, and also our social media. The youth wing doesn't yet have a official page on Facebook or Instagram. So this is something that we will have upcoming in this year, right?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. And I agree political education is lacking. And also even our understanding of politics a lot of times is pretty shallow, right? We think of politics as only electoral politics, right? When actually it's so much broader than that. I would say that is probably by design rather than by accident. The fact that
Mm-hmm.
Singaporeans feel and think like that. But yeah, anyway, political education is the reason why I have this show, right? So definitely
I
I
appreciate you
agree
for
with
that.
you. Yeah. Yeah. So any other pet causes that you think that the youth wing is specifically better equipped to deal with rather than the party as a whole?
Well, we mentioned the mental health as one thing,
Yeah.
and then of course, environmental and sustainability there's another,
Yeah.
and of course the topic of race.
Right.
Uh,
Okay.
and I would think also diversity of ideas, being able to speak up your opinions and not being afraid to make mistakes. So diversity of ideas is something I also think that the youth can do it better and more equipped, in your words, to do so. Because we have, of course, I mean, we have this social media, right? So a lot of us grow up with social media, and having different source of information that's critical, and it will be more critical thinking. I think that's also important. Yeah, and so this is where I think we will make a difference as well. Like
Oh,
daring to make mistakes, daring to speak up, daring to talk about inconvenient or unconventional topics. That's something where the youth can really make a difference.
but are youths better positioned to do that? What do you personally think on that? Because seems like there is also a fear amongst youths, right? And this fear is, I guess, more pronounced amongst youth of getting cancelled, right? Of saying the wrong thing. I think this probably younger people, they tend to have this fear, and then they start self-censoring. I don't know if older people self-censor because of the government, younger people self-censor because of their peers. I mean, not that older people do not self-censor because of their peers and younger people do not self-censor because of the government, right? So both exist. I'm just saying it's more of that. So do you think youths are as bold as you say?
I believe so, and I think that's
Really?
why I'm hitting the youth way. Yes, I have I believe in our youth, and I'm very encouraged by the number of young people who have come forward to help in PSP. I mean, being political involved is not the most natural thing to do
Yeah,
in
yeah.
a place
In
like
Singapore,
Singapore.
yeah. It's not,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they speak up, they do things, they contribute, even if they cannot show their face, and that shows there's still some fear, right? That's
Yeah,
undeniable.
yeah.
I'm not pretending that youths are fearless and completely
No.
disregard.
Yeah.
But still, they want to help out, and I definitely think that our youth of today are more active politically than the past generations. And yes, I mean, being cancelled is one thing, but I guess if you have your support group or in the community of like-minded people, the strength will get multiplied, right? The courage will be multiplied. And that's why I also think that, we are also taking part in the ground ops, and the walkabout, the meeting other people out there. I remember once I was out there knocking on doors in Choa Chu Kang area, and then this young 18-year-old girl, I think she looks like 18, I don't know. And then she came up quite hesitant, a bit shy, and then like, no, what do you guys do? She knows that we are from PSP, but she was a bit shy about it. But she did come up. She took the courage. I mean, she had the courage to come up and say that, what do you guys do? To say, okay, and I got in touch. So that was really encouraging. Yeah. So
Yeah. Definitely. So I believe in the youth as well. So I think definitely the youths today are more, they understand social justice, racial justice, and gender and so on, more than previous generations, right? But I do feel that this fear of getting cancelled is more and more pronounced, I think, and you can't blame them. I mean, I
because
think it's a
social
matter
media,
of
right?
time. Yeah, it's
The
a matter of
pressure.
time before I get cancelled as well, or there will be a cancellation attempt, right? And I think that's just
But you
part
can then
of.
join us. But the funny thing is, it
Yeah,
was something that I asked one of the youth members in the party. I asked her, why do you join? Like, I asked everyone, right? So why do you join PSP? Right. Then she said, yeah, because there's some cause that she wants to champion. She wants to help. Yeah. And that's it. So why don't you become an activist? And her answer was quite profound. She said, I think here in the party you actually get protection because you're in a
right,
political party, because it's an organization. There are people
right,
who have experience, who have resources, who have
right,
connections, maybe, and people who have been out there. And as a group, you're stronger together, right? Instead of
right,
you being alone out there by yourself. And she also gave me an example of like if you are the fastest, okay, if you are the fastest runner in the world, but you're not in the Olympics, the guy who's competing in the Olympics wouldn't care less about you because you're not in the running for the medal. You're not
right.
competing with him for the medal. And that is how. I think it makes a difference between being an activist, being in a civil society, and
Right,
being in a political party.
right. Yeah, so I mean, I think that's true. Definitely, you get more protection. But it's okay. I will have to turn down. I would have to turn down the invitation.
The
But
door
let's see.
always
Okay,
is open.
when let's see when I really get cancelled, what happens, right? So, so Jess, where are you looking at contesting in the next election? I know you. The first instinct is to give a politically correct answer, right? Well, depends on where the party wants to field me, and okay, I get all of that. But where do you want to contest? What is your preference?
Just assuming that I am going to contest or I want
Well,
to
I
contest.
assume you want to contest, right? Otherwise, why would you be in the youth wing, right? You'll be an activist. You'll do Instagram lives, right? If you don't want to contest.
Well, I can say that we have been active as a party in the West Coast, in Choa Chu Kang, in Nisun, and we are also looking at other places, where there is a void to be filled.
Oh, interesting.
Yes. So we want to first really understand the ground and then to reach out to people. I think that's the most first and foremost on the top of our mind.
Okay. Wow. So that's a very so throughout the session, right? You've been very upfront, but now you're sounding like a politician already.
See, I'm growing and learning
Growing
at
into the
the on the go.
Okay, fair enough. And I think it's too early also, right, for us to for you to
It is it
answer
is
that
it
question.
is a bit
Yeah, I mean
early.
so many things can happen in the next 3 years, right? But I guess we still have some time. So I wanted to ask also about this not strategy and not coalition, but I guess it's coordination to use Dr. Elvin Ong's words or phrase that the PSP and the WP, even without formally coordinating, formally aligning with each other, they still coordinate, right? So the WP will go for the east, and then the PSP and SDP will go for the western and northern areas more. So do you see that trend continuing, and that is healthy? Because you yourself talked about the dangers of three-cornered fights or four-cornered fights early on at this in this session. Although what I would say is 2011, I think Singaporean voters have learned from 2011. Right. Without Tan Jise, for sure, we would have President Tan Cheng Bock, 100%, because the people who voted for Tan Jise, there's no way they would have voted for Tony Tan. They would have voted for Tan Cheng Bock, right? Tan Kilian, I'm not sure. That 4.9%, I don't know how to explain that. But the
Well, we just needed
25%,
actually 7,000 votes, but
yeah. But I mean, those people could have been PAP supporters as well, right? But the Tan Jise, for sure, they were not Tony Tan or PAP supporters, right? So I think we will know. As in Singaporeans already know that three-cornered fights are harmful. So I'm talking about opposition supporters. So I'm never particularly worried about three or four-cornered fights, because if you want democracy, that's fine as well, right? But do you see this coordination continuing, this East versus West?
I do think that it will be detrimental if we do not recognize that this is the way it should go, right? And if you still end up with some three-corner fights, that's pretty unfortunate. And I would understand if then the Singaporeans are frustrated at this. So personal feeling and is that I think there will be some unspoken coordination, like consciously, subconscious coordination. Yeah.
Right. So there's a comment here by Zaja. Why ask about this? Ask PAP about gerrymandering. Well, I have Jess here, so I cannot ask the PAP about gerrymandering now. So yeah, but definitely if I have them on, I would ask them as well about. I mean, when I had Professor Tambaya on as well, I was asking him how he felt, whether boundaries would be redrawn and so on. But in any case, yeah. So what are your immediate plans in the next 6 months to 1 year, what is the youth wing's immediate plans, or what are their immediate plans? Yeah.
Well, the first thing is and it's a continuous effort to engage the youth, and in the party as well as outside the party. I think one of the main challenges, a very practical one, is that we are at the age where we are building our careers, we are building our families, we are paying the bills, we have our work life, then we have the private life, and then there's the political life. So it's a lot of balancing act, and so engagement is important. When people are engaged, they will go the extra mile, right? So it's not just because you are a member of the party already, I can just leave you behind and just assume that you will work and you will contribute. So continuous engagement is important. And of course, then we want to recruit more young people to reach out to them, because I know that a lot of people out there, they are curious. When my friends first knew that I joined a political party, they are like, oh, some of them are like, oh, it's about time. But I was like, okay.
Oh wow.
You knew
Okay.
something. You knew something I didn't, because I was never. I mean, I have always been a little bit outspoken, but I've never been like actively looking to join a political party. So I think there are a lot of people out there, and then since then, friends also have reached out to me, and they are interested to know more about what I do and what is it
Right.
like, how much commitment, how much time you need to contribute. Because and I think when you get questions like, how much commitment does it take? And I feel very heartened, because then these people are serious about committing, right? They
Right.
want to know they can commit before they
Right.
sign up to be a member. So they don't want to just sign up and in the name you're a PSP member, but you don't do anything.
Yeah.
So it means that people are seriously thinking about it, and I take joy when to explain or to show them, like, okay, you can in fact join us as a volunteer if you are not sure how much you can commit or what kind of commitment level is required. So definitely engagement outreach is top priority, so that people know why PSP is there. Why are you guys doing these sort of TikTok videos? Why some things look so silly? But it's really because we want to reach out to people. We know. I mean, we are not blind to our flaws or shortcomings, the criticism. Right?
Anything on TikTok is largely. I mean, it veers bit. I mean, at the very least, it'll be some form of silliness, right? But I'm not on TikTok. I mean, I was almost
you should get on.
on.
Oh no, I thought you
I was
tried, right? One of
advised.
your
No, I didn't. Oh yeah, don't remind me. Yeah. But a friend of mine did that video for me. But I've seen a couple of PSP TikTok videos, and believe me, they are not the worst when it comes to politicians. So I don't think
thanks. We are
they are not the worst. There are some politicians that do TikTok like I feel like, oh my god, I feel embarrassed for them when I see their videos.
Okay, A for effort.
Okay, yeah, maybe perhaps. Yeah, so there are a couple of comments here. So Steffi asked Jess about Will and Chris. No, we are not going to talk about that. But if somebody wants to talk about that with me, message me in the next hour, and then we'll go live at 11 p.m. or something. Okay, if you guys want to talk about that. So Iggy has a very good question. So in light of the Raisa Khan scandal, do you think that this has negatively affected a young person's place in opposition parliamentary politics? So if I could refine that question or add on to that question, right? Because I can imagine that now young parties, especially opposition parties, would be far more reluctant and far more calculated when they want to choose a younger person, right? And especially the activist types, I think they would be far more hesitant. Do you think that is true, or do you think parties will not be affected by this?
I think it's unrealistic to say that it will not be affected. Surely the sentiments will be affected, but will it be affected in such an extent that they will vote the other way? I doubt so. I think as young people, people make mistakes. I think if there's a party that tries to make you believe that they are whiter than white and perfect, these are the biggest con men.
Wow, pulling no punches. I see. So you really took
but nobody's
what I
perfect.
said seriously.
I don't need to
Yeah.
pull punches on this because it's a fact. Nobody is perfect,
Yeah, it's
right?
true. I agree. I
And
agree.
people
Yeah,
make
yeah.
mistakes.
But the
So
mistakes are of different levels of
yes,
seriousness, right? And
yes,
this one
yes,
is a particular serious one.
yeah. But people are
Yeah.
intelligent, right? I think Singaporeans, we give them too little credit, maybe, at how discerning they can be. I think they are
Mm,
reasonable and discerning. So just because one person of the thing of a certain age, of a certain propensity, um, and support a certain cause makes a mistake, they're not going to say that everybody who has this profile
right,
will make the same mistake. It
right,
is stereotyping. And we also
right,
know that there are plenty of examples of, if you name me one person who makes a mistake, I can name you 10 who didn't, right?
right.
So I think Singaporeans are able to look beyond this. Of course, in the immediate effect. I mean, if the election was like happened last month, right? Maybe the impact would be greater. But over time, people can see that the work, the sincerity, and the effort that is put in by the rest of the team, it should then more than make up for the mistake.
Right.
And
So
also I think we need to be more forgiving and look beyond that, because if you cannot move on past that, then you will not progress as a people.
yeah. So on the part of the voters, I think I agree with you. So probably and especially I think now public sentiment maybe has turned against the PAP probably, or at least not it has turned completely, but I guess in the initial stages I thought like the WP lost a lot of goodwill amongst the people, and then they sort of recovered it based on the COP proceedings, right? Because of the COP proceedings, rather. So that's on the part of the voters. I think the effect, what you mentioned is true. I think people would be skeptical or hesitant about younger voters, but probably it won't be younger candidates, but it won't be deciding, right? But what about parties themselves? Would they be more reluctant to field younger candidates in the first place? And younger, much
That
younger than yourself as well, like Raisa's age, like 20
I'm
plus,
not
right?
even that young.
You're young, but younger.
Young, you're
Yeah.
also young.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, at least I feel that in PSP, I don't feel that sentiment. Dr. Tan, Francis, they love young people. It's kind of a bit of an irony. In the beginning, we thought that, oh, we were just making jokes at how PSP is the old man's party,
Mm,
right? But actually, once you are in the party and you work with them, you actually appreciate that they are wise. There's a lot of wisdom, and there's a lot of experience among them. And really, I think they are among the most they embrace young people, and I have not. It surprised me as well. Honestly, I just thought that, oh no, but then
right,
again, they are just so encouraging of young people to take up leadership roles.
right,
If you want to contribute, you're willing to contribute and you're able to contribute. In this party, you have no shortage of opportunities to step up and take up leadership role, to prove yourself, to make things work, to have a say in how things are run. So I would say, genuine in PSP, I do not feel that the young people have gotten a discredit from this episode.
right. Okay. So for PSP, this will not be an issue, or not too much of an issue. And I've only met Dr. Tan once, and it was for Teh Tarik,
Yeah,
and I did
sure.
it at his house, and such a warm person. Like he's one of those that is very easy to like him immediately. Not always, right? You see people like that, especially politicians, like a lot of times, right? It's very easy to dislike a politician the first time you see them, but he's the complete opposite, like very very easy to fall in love with him
Because
the
I
first
think
time.
because it's
Yeah.
really kind.
And
Like,
he's really genuine, I think, right? He's genuine, like, so what you see is what you get, right? So, and I think people can sort of see through that, right? People can see when people are being insincere, or generally, I think people can see. So, final question final from the audience, and then I'll ask one light-hearted question. Okay, so Z asks, will PSP be fielding more young minority candidates?
I sure hope so. I sure hope so. But yeah, if you are interested, please contact me.
So Z,
You know how
you
to
can
reach out to
contact.
me.
Yeah.
Actually, this is
So
a outreach.
yeah, but Z is not minority, but I guess she's
Okay, we don't
asking on
discriminate
behalf.
against the
Yeah.
non-minorities as well.
So yeah,
You can
so
always come.
minority, non-minority. So the
Yeah,
door is open
hey,
for
regardless of race, language,
just
or religion, really.
yes. All right. So Jess, final question, light-hearted one. So what who is your favorite PAP politician other than SM Taman? Because I want to end off
Um,
on a reconciliatory note, right? So, and everybody will say SM Taman. So, who's your
but you
favorite?
haven't guessed which GRC I
Oh,
am.
okay, yeah, okay. So, was there a contest, or
There was a contest. Yeah,
but you always felt that uh,
there was no fight.
Ang Mo Kio, Jurong? I should have said
Was-
Jurong. Yeah. Okay. Yes. So other than him, who is your favorite?
Can I say Lee Kuan Yew or he must be alive?
Current one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me think. Who's my favorite? That's tough. That's tough. But actually, can I just say Taman? I mean, it's my favorite 10 times.
Okay, why Taman? Why Taman?
Oh,
And
he's
why
actually
was
my
it so
MP.
hard to think of somebody else? Oh yeah. He's your MP. Right.
Uh,
So Taman Jurong.
yes.
Okay, right. So, but I mean, there are many people who do not like their own MPs, right?
Why I'm a little bit luckier.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely good, I think, and even the way he speaks to people as well, right? He's another one, I think. It's very easy to fall in love with him. Yeah. All right,
Yep.
Jess, is there anything else that you wanted to say?
Well, can I do a recruitment call again?
Okay, carry
No,
on, Yeah.
no. I want to thank you. Thank you for doing this series of talks. And I have watched some of the interviews and I really loved them. Actually, I had such a good laugh each time. I really
Okay.
appreciate that. And it's educational. It is fun, and it's a little bit like what we are doing. Like politics, we work hard, but also have fun. Um, we have fun while doing that. And I think you are doing a great service for the people. This is,
Oh,
the
thank you.
civil education, political education, this is so important. The civil society is unfortunately a bit lacking. But
Yeah,
we work towards it. I mean, we're still a young nation.
right,
So don't be too hard on ourselves. But yeah, you need to start and better start now than later.
right, definitely.
And yeah,
Yes,
so
yeah.
yeah, if you are free, we can go for a Teh Tarik one
Oh,
day.
definitely. I definitely want to. I definitely want to. And
Right.
yeah, you're right. I think politics is fun, and we should have fun while talking about politics as well, even though it's a serious topic, but we can always have fun as well. And I think the reason why, thank you for your kind words. The reason why I can do this series is because I am non-partisan and independent, right? So please don't try to recruit me. Otherwise, don't.
I'm not
Then
gonna stop trying, but
I, I would have to stop doing this series already. Okay,
okay,
Jess,
okay.
that was such a lovely conversation. We took almost exactly 1 hour. So thank you so much for your time, and we'll meet up in real life. Okay, right.
Great.
Good night,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Good night, Jess. Bye bye.